The stars shimmered like tiny jewels across the endless black canvas of space. For most civilizations, it was a backdrop, a calm, silent expanse. But for the Varelians, it was a nightmare unfolding. Their worlds, once full of life and color, now trembled under the shadow of a ruthless predator, the Corvins. These massive insect-like creatures had swept through star systems, consuming everything in their path. Cities, forests, oceans, even the smallest creatures, nothing survived them. On the surface of Varelia, the capital world, panic and sorrow filled the air. The Varelians, a tall, elegant species with translucent skin and eyes that glimmered like polished gemstones, had never known war on this scale. Their technology was advanced, but it was built for exploration, not combat. And now, for the first time in their history, they faced extinction, high above the planet. In a sleek communication tower, Alara, a young Varelian scientist, stared at the holoscreen displaying the approaching Corvin fleet. Her 3 arms trembled slightly as she worked furiously, trying to send a distress signal. The Varelians had tried to resist on their own, but the Corvins adapted quickly. Every plan failed. Every defense fell. Hope was slipping away. "We cannot hold them much longer," Alara whispered almost to herself. "If no one answers, we are finished." Her partner Theron placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then we must send the signal. The universe is vast, but somewhere someone may hear us." His voice was calm, though his eyes betrayed the same fear she felt. Alara nodded. She activated the main transmitter, the device designed to send messages across the galaxy. She carefully encoded the signal, embedding not just a warning but also a plea. "Help us. We cannot survive alone." The signal was unlike anything the galaxy had received before. It carried the fear, desperation, and dignity of an entire species. As it spread, racing through space at the speed of light, Alara and Theron watched the monitors, praying anyone would respond. Thousands of light years away, on the harsh planet of Draxus, the signal finally reached human ears. Draxus was no ordinary world. Its surface was a chaotic mixture of jagged mountains, scorching deserts, and storms that could crush cities in an instant. Life there was brutal, and humans had survived by becoming stronger, smarter, and fiercer than anything else. They were called Deathworlders for a reason. In a high-tech command center built into the side of a blackened mountain, Commander Jarek studied the incoming transmission. The humans of Draxus had grown used to strange signals. Some were false alarms, others were warnings of natural disasters. But this was different. There was a tone of honesty, of desperation that was impossible to ignore. "Read the message aloud," Jarek ordered. His voice was deep, carrying the authority of someone who had led his people through countless storms and battles. A technician activated the holographic display. "Message received from Varelia." Translation is automatic. The alien voice spoke in careful, measured tones, though the holographic subtitles revealed the true emotion behind it. "We are being destroyed by a relentless predator. Our species faces extinction. We beg for aid from any who can intervene." The room fell silent. The humans were known for their toughness, but even they felt the weight of this plea. It was not just a call for help, it was a challenge, a test of courage and compassion. Draxus humans did not shrink from danger. They had faced the storms, the predators, and the harsh terrain of their world. But aiding a distant civilization against a deadly alien species, that was a risk on a scale they had never encountered. Jarek leaned back in his chair, stroking his chin. "This will not be easy," he said slowly. "The Varelians are far away, and the Corvins are clearly dangerous, but we do not turn away from the helpless." A young officer, Lyra, spoke up. "Sir, if we do not act, they are doomed. But if we intervene, we risk our fleet, our people. Are we truly ready to cross the stars for this?" Her question was honest, a reflection of the fear that every Draxus human felt before facing overwhelming odds. Jarek's gaze hardened. "We are Deathworlders. Our world teaches us to survive where others cannot. We do not flee from danger, we confront it. If these beings need us, we will answer." Preparation began immediately. Engineers and strategists worked together, modifying the fleet for a long journey through uncharted space. Ships were reinforced, weapons upgraded, and supplies stockpiled. Humans on Draxus were efficient in a way that reflected their harsh upbringing. Every decision was practical, yet bold, a reflection of the spirit that had kept their species alive on a planet that could kill with a single storm. As the fleet prepared to depart, Jarek addressed his crew. We are venturing into the unknown. We do not know the strength of the Corvins, but we do know ourselves. We are Drax's humans. We endure, we adapt, and above all, we protect those who cannot protect themselves. Today, we sail not just for survival, but for honor. The crew cheered, their voices echoing in the vast chamber. It was a moment of unity, a declaration that they would face whatever came next with courage. Despite the fear, excitement coursed through every human present. This mission was dangerous, yes, but it was the kind of challenge that defined their species. Meanwhile, back on Virelia, Alara and Thyron watched anxiously. Days passed and hope dwindled. The Corvins were relentless. Ships fell from the sky like fire, cities burned, and the population dwindled. Each attack left deeper scars, both physical and emotional. And then across the void of space, a small but unmistakable signal blinked in their communication system. At first, they thought it was another Corvin trap. But as the signal strengthened, hope sparked in their hearts. The message was clear: help is coming. Ilara's heart raced. They've answered, she whispered, tears welling in her eyes. They are coming. Thyron placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Then we will survive. They will not let us fall. As the Virelians prepared for the first sight of the approaching fleet, the scene shifted to the human ships gliding silently through space, undaunted by the vast distances or the dangers ahead. The Drax's humans were trained for harsh worlds, but nothing had fully prepared them for the thrill and terror of venturing into a conflict that spanned light years and threatened an entire species. The journey ahead was uncertain. The Corvins were waiting. The Virelians' survival hung in the balance. And yet, the Deathworlders pressed forward, driven by a mix of instinct, honor, and courage. For them, the galaxy was a challenge, not a prison, and they would meet it head-on. By the time the first stars of Virelian space came into view, every human aboard the fleet was aware of one simple truth. This mission would define them. Not as conquerors, not as explorers, but as protectors. They were entering the unknown, ready to face impossible odds with nothing but skill, courage, and the will to endure. And somewhere deep in the hearts of the Virelians, hope began to bloom. For the first time in months, they believed that survival was possible. Not through their own strength, but through the valor of beings they had never met. The signal that had crossed the galaxy, the desperate plea for help, had found its answer. And in the coming days, the universe would witness something remarkable. Humans, hardened by a death world, facing a predator species across the stars, and standing unwavering in the face of fear, the stars, once silent witnesses to the terror of the Corvins, now bore witness to the courage of the Deathworlders. And this was only the beginning. The Drax's fleet moved like a silver arrow through the darkness of space. Each ship, reinforced for long voyages and possible combat, glinted faintly under the distant starlight. Commander Jarek stood on the bridge of the flagship, vigilant, gazing ahead at the endless expanse. Around him, his crew worked efficiently, every movement precise, every instruction followed without hesitation. These were humans hardened by their homeworld, born to survive in the deadliest environments, and now they carried that same spirit across the galaxy. Status report, Jarek commanded, his voice calm but firm. Lieutenant Kara, young but skilled, responded from her console. All systems nominal, Commander. Supplies are sufficient for the journey. No signs of hostile activity detected yet, though we are entering uncharted sectors. Jarek nodded. Uncharted space was never truly empty. Natural hazards, abandoned alien outposts, rogue AI drones, any of these could spell disaster. But the humans of Draxus did not shy away from danger. Where other species would see risk, they saw opportunity. The chance to prove themselves and, more importantly, to save lives. In the observation deck, other crew members watched the stars streak by. Some murmured about the Virelians and their plight. Others speculated on the Corvins. The mysterious predators reported in the distress signal. Everyone shared the same underlying tension. This mission was not just dangerous, it was unprecedented. Few humans had ever traveled so far into unknown space with a fleet prepared for combat against a species they had never encountered. As the fleet moved deeper into uncharted space, the crew began to encounter unexpected challenges. A dense asteroid field appeared ahead, vast and irregular, stretching for millions of kilometers. Each rock spun slowly, yet their sheer numbers made the passage deadly. Adjust trajectory by 0.7 degrees starboard, Kara instructed. We'll weave through, maintaining formation. Pilots gripped their controls, their muscles tense. The ships weaved between massive asteroids, dodging collisions by meters. A miscalculation could destroy a vessel instantly, but the human pilots of Draxus had trained in environments far worse than this. On their homeworld, jagged mountains, violent storms, and predator-filled wastelands were everyday obstacles. Here in space, they applied the same precision, courage, and instinct. One small ship, piloted by Siren, a skilled scout, passed through the field with ease, mapping the asteroids for the rest of the fleet. "Path clear," Siren reported, her voice calm, almost confident. "Vigilant, lead the way." Jarek allowed himself a small smile. This was why Draxus humans survived where others perished. They adapted, they anticipated, and they never panicked. Even in space, the harsh training of their homeworld proved invaluable. Beyond the asteroid field, more challenges awaited. Rogue AI drones patrolled the sector, remnants of an ancient civilization long gone. They detected the fleet and activated defensive measures, sending high-energy pulses that could disable ships instantly. "Evasive maneuvers," Jarek ordered. The fleet responded immediately, twisting and turning through the void. The pulses hit harmlessly against reinforced hulls, but the crew knew that one mistake could be fatal. Engineers adjusted shields in real time. Weapons systems tracked the drones, and communication officers coordinated a counterattack. Within minutes, the drones were neutralized or bypassed, and the fleet continued on its path. In the quieter moments, crew members reflected on the mission's purpose. "Do you think they'll survive until we arrive?" asked a young technician Taven to his companion. "They have no choice," replied his friend Rhea. "We're coming. That has to be enough for now." The Varelians' plea echoed in everyone's minds. Their message was simple but powerful. "We are helpless. Please help us." It was a call that could not be ignored. To the humans, it was more than duty. It was an honor to answer, a chance to make a difference on a galactic scale. Days turned into weeks. The fleet continued its journey, navigating nebulae that distorted sensors, dodging meteor showers, and surviving radiation bursts. Each obstacle tested the crew, yet they met every challenge with determination. On Draxus, nothing had been gentle. Life had taught them that survival required courage, skill, and unity. Here, in the cold reaches of space, those lessons applied just as well. As they neared Varelian space, the fleet detected the first signs of the Corvins. Massive, irregular ships moved through the sector, their dark hulls unlike anything the humans had seen. Sensors struggled to classify them, and energy readings suggested powerful weapons capable of devastating entire worlds. "Corvins confirmed," Kara reported. "They are large, heavily armed, and appear to patrol systematically. We are likely to encounter resistance soon." Jarek's expression remained steady. He had faced storms that could crush cities, predators that hunted in packs, and chemical storms that could strip flesh from bone. The Corvins, terrifying as they were just another challenge. "Prepare for first contact," he said. "We proceed with caution, but remember, fear is our enemy. We do not retreat." The humans began deploying reconnaissance drones to observe the Corvin fleet. They moved silently, slipping past patrols, gathering intelligence. Each report added to the plan for how they would protect the Varelians and strike back. In the meantime, small signals reached the Varelians. They had not yet seen the human fleet, but sensors detected energy readings unlike anything in their sector. Elara and Thyron watched, their hope growing. Perhaps their prayers were being answered. "Commander, they are approaching Varelian space," reported Kara. "Shall we announce ourselves?" Jarek shook his head. "Not yet. We observe first. We need to understand the Corvins before we act. Speed and strategy will be our advantage." Despite the tension, the humans took time to prepare the Varelians for what was coming. They sent encrypted communication pulses, introducing themselves as allies, instructing the Varelians to remain calm, and teaching basic defensive maneuvers. It was slow work but necessary. The Varelians were skilled in technology but not combat, and panic could lead to disaster. As they approached the outer borders of Varelian space, the first skirmish occurred. A Corvin scouting vessel detected one of the human drones and attacked. The Draxus fleet reacted immediately, launching a counterattack. Using unpredictable maneuvers and precise targeting, the humans disabled the Corvin ship without revealing the full strength of their fleet. "Impressive," Jarek muttered under his breath. "They are faster and smarter than they appear. But they will learn what it means to face us soon enough." The encounter served as a warning and a test. The Corvins were formidable, but they underestimated the humans' resilience, adaptability, and ingenuity. Every Draxus human had grown up where danger was constant, where storms, predators, and scarcity forced innovation and courage. That experience translated perfectly into space combat, even against a species that seemed unstoppable. The Varelians monitored the battle in awe. Their species had never seen such fearlessness. Even in their darkest hour when hope seemed lost, these humans dared to enter their space, facing the same threat that had destroyed countless worlds. Ilara whispered almost reverently. They are extraordinary, Theron nodded. Yes, they bring more than technology. They bring courage. By the end of the skirmish, the Draxus fleet had sent a clear message. The Corvins were not invincible, and the humans would not hesitate to defend those in need. But the greater challenge lay ahead. The Corvins would soon realize that a fleet had arrived, and the battle for the Varelian survival was only beginning. Jarek stood at the observation deck, looking toward Varelia. The planet's blue-green glow was faint but unmistakable in the distance. We are close, he said. Prepare for landing strategies, communication with the Varelians, and possible engagement. We act together, with precision, courage, and resolve. As the fleet moved closer, the humans felt the weight of responsibility settle over them. This mission was dangerous, uncertain, and unlike any they had faced before. But they also felt a sense of purpose that only humans of Draxus could know. The drive to face impossible odds, to fight for others, and to show that valor and intelligence could overcome even the deadliest threats. In the silence between stars, the human fleet advanced, carrying hope across light years, ready to meet the Corvins, and prepared to protect a civilization that had no choice but to trust them. The journey into the unknown was far from over, but the Deathworlders were fearless. They had survived Draxus. They would survive anything the galaxy could throw at them, and so the stage was set. The Varelians waited with bated breath. The Corvins prowled in the dark, and the humans of Draxus, shaped by a planet that demanded the utmost strength, pressed onward with unwavering resolve. In the vast expanse of space, one truth became clear: courage knows no borders, and when the helpless call, the valorous answer, even across galaxies. The Draxus fleet glided through the outer edges of Varelian space. The blue-green glow of Varelia hung in the distance, a jewel of a planet under threat. Commander Jarek stood on the bridge of the Vigilant, his gaze steady, scanning the stars for signs of the Corvins. His crew moved with quiet precision, each human aware that danger could strike at any moment. But today was not just about danger. It was about hope. Commander, sensors detect Varelian communication signals, Lieutenant Kara reported. They are attempting to reach us, Jarek nodded. Patch them through to the main channel. The human fleet had to coordinate with the Varelians carefully. These beings were not trained for combat. Any sudden movement could cause panic. We approach as allies. Make that clear. On Varelia, Ilara and Theron watched anxiously as a communication window opened. A holographic display appeared showing the stern, determined face of Commander Jarek. His presence, calm and commanding, carried an unspoken assurance. We are Draxus humans, Jarek said. We received your distress signal. We are here to help. We mean no harm. We ask only for your trust as we work together. Ilara felt a surge of relief. For the first time in months, she dared to hope. We trust you, she replied. Our people are unprepared for what is coming. Please help us, Theron added. The Corvins will not stop until everything is destroyed. We will need every advantage to survive. Jarek's expression remained steady. Then we begin immediately. Prepare your defenses and follow our instructions. We fight together as allies. With that, the Draxus fleet adjusted its formation to protect the planet, taking positions that combined observation and defense. Humans on Draxus had learned to adapt to dangerous environments, and now that knowledge was applied on a galactic scale. Every ship moved with purpose. Every maneuver calculated to maximize defense while minimizing exposure to the Corvins. The first Corvin scouts appeared soon after. They were massive, their dark exoskeletons gleaming with energy fields that pulsed with lethal power. To the untrained eye, they were terrifying, unstoppable. But the Draxus humans did not flinch. Experience on Draxus had taught them that fear could be managed, that intelligence and courage could turn the tide against seemingly insurmountable odds. Contact established, Kara said. Corvins are advancing on multiple vectors. Jarek's jaw tightened. Split the fleet. Scouts intercept and delay. The rest protect the planet and the Varelians. Use the terrain, asteroid belts, gas clouds, and debris. Force them into unfavorable positions. The humans' tactics were unconventional. They darted between natural hazards using irregular movements and sudden bursts of speed to confuse the Corvins. Each strike was precise, calculated to disable or delay, not necessarily destroy. This was a strategy born on Draxus, where survival meant using the environment to one's advantage. Varelians watched in awe as the humans executed maneuvers they had never imagined. Ships twisted around debris, fired with precision, and disappeared into the shadows before the Corvins could react. Alara whispered, "They are incredible. Our people could never do this," Theron nodded. "They are fearless and clever. That is why they are here, and why we have hope." The Corvins, however, were not easily deterred. Their numbers were vast, and their instincts for predation were sharp. They adapted quickly, coordinating attacks and attempting to encircle the humans, but Draxus humans were even faster to adapt. Using a combination of sudden maneuvers, feints, and counterattacks, the fleet kept the Corvins at bay. Each clash tested the crew, but they moved as one organism, driven by instinct, training, and courage. Amid the chaos, smaller Varelian ships joined in under human guidance. They were fragile, but with human direction they became effective support. Humans taught them to use energy shields in bursts, to deploy small defensive drones, and to coordinate with the fleet. This collaboration, though brief, demonstrated that cooperation could overcome even the most terrifying threats. During one intense exchange, a Corvin warship charged directly at the planet's surface, intending to destroy a populated city. Commander Jarek acted instantly. "Serene, intercept!" Serene, the scout pilot, maneuvered through a narrow asteroid belt, her ship twisting unpredictably to avoid fire. She launched a precise strike at the Corvin vessel, destabilizing it and forcing it away from the planet. The Varelians gasped as their city was spared, their admiration for the humans growing with each act of courage. Jarek's voice carried over the fleet's comms. "This is what we do. Protect the helpless. Fight with intelligence and courage. Do not falter." The Corvins roared in response, their energy pulses lighting up space, but each human maneuver countered their aggression. In the distance, the Varelian homeworld shone as a beacon of hope. For the first time in months, the Varelians dared to believe they might survive. As the battle continued, Alara coordinated from the planet's command center. "They fight not just with weapons, but with strategy. They think faster than we can, act faster than the Corvins expect. It is inspiring," Theron added. "This is why we sent the signal. We needed more than technology, we needed courage, and they bring it in abundance." The Corvins attempted to regroup for a larger assault, deploying multiple ships to flank the Draxus fleet. Jarek anticipated their move. "Lieutenant Kara, deploy countermeasures. Form wedge formation and lure them toward the asteroid belt. Use the environment as a weapon." The humans executed flawlessly. The Corvins, strong but overconfident, fell into the trap. Asteroids collided with their ships, energy beams misfired, and the chaotic terrain turned their attack into a struggle for survival. The Draxus humans used every advantage the stars offered, proving that intelligence, courage, and adaptability could overcome raw strength. Meanwhile, on Varelia, citizens watched the display on holoscreens, some cheering, others weeping. They had never seen such bravery. The humans fought not for power or conquest, but for them, the helpless, the endangered, the vulnerable. It was a lesson in valor and hope, and the Varelians' respect and trust in their saviors deepened. Amid the conflict, small moments of connection emerged. Humans taught Varelians how to create temporary energy shields, how to deploy decoys, and how to coordinate with fleet movements. Varelians shared knowledge of their planet's unique energy systems, which the humans quickly adapted for defense. Together they created a synergy that neither species could achieve alone. The battle raged for hours. Corvins attacked with relentless determination, but the humans, guided by instinct, intelligence, and unwavering courage, held the line. Each skirmish showcased the Deathworlders' resilience. They endured when others would have fled, adapted when others would have panicked, and protected when others would have surrendered. Finally, after a brutal encounter, the Corvins retreated temporarily, regrouping at a distance. The humans and Varelians, exhausted but victorious, took a moment to assess the situation. Ships were damaged, minor casualties occurred, but the planet remained safe. The first clash had proven that the humans were more than allies. They were protectors, capable of turning the tide against an overwhelming threat. Commander Jarek addressed the crew. Today we have shown what it means to fight for the helpless. But this is only the beginning. The Corvins will return stronger and more determined. We must remain vigilant, adaptive, and united. Together with the Virelians, we can survive and protect what matters. On Virelia, Elara turned to Thyron. They are not just warriors, they are hope. They fight not for glory, but for life itself. We must learn from them and trust them completely. Thyron nodded. He says they are what the universe needed. And now we fight together. The stars, silent witnesses to the battle, shimmered as if acknowledging the courage displayed. Across light years, two species, one shaped by harsh survival on a brutal world, the other by intellect and innovation, found common purpose. Together they faced a predator that had seemed unstoppable, proving that courage and intelligence could shine brighter than any threat. As the fleet prepared for the next encounter, humans and Virelians alike knew one thing. The battle for survival had only just begun. But with valor as their guide, strategy as their tool, and unity as their strength, they were ready. And in the darkness of space, a spark of hope burned brighter than ever. The surface of Virelia shimmered under the light of a distant sun, peaceful in appearance yet trembling under the shadow of the Corvins. For months the planet had suffered attacks and the citizens had barely survived. But today, hope burned brighter than fear. The Draxus humans had arrived, and with them, a new strategy, new courage, and the promise of survival. Commander Jarek stood aboard the flagship Vigilant, his eyes scanning the swirling Corvin fleet approaching Virelia. The humans had studied their enemy, learned their patterns, and adapted to counter their strength. But this was the ultimate test, a full-scale assault on the Virelian homeworld. The Corvins' numbers were vast and their intentions clear. They wanted total destruction. Lieutenant Kara, Jarek said, deploy all drones and activate planetary shields. Synchronize with Virelian systems. We protect the planet at all costs. Kara nodded, fingers flying across the console. Every drone, every energy shield, every ship had a precise role. Humans from Draxus thrived under pressure, and this battle would prove why. Their preparation, discipline, and daring tactics were unmatched. On the planet's surface, Elara coordinated with Virelian engineers, activating newly installed defense arrays. Humans have taught us well, she said to Thyron. I never thought we could organize such a coordinated defense. Thyron's expression was determined. We have no choice. With them we stand a chance. The first wave of Corvins hit. Massive warships thundered across the skies, firing energy beams that scorched the ground below. Virelian cities braced for impact, their citizens fleeing to reinforced shelters. But Draxus humans were ready. Using rapid maneuvers, their ships intercepted the Corvins before they could reach the planet's atmosphere. Explosions lit the skies, yet the humans adapted, predicting enemy movements with uncanny precision. Jarek's voice was calm but commanding. Do not follow predictable paths. Use the environment. Move fast, strike harder, and always protect the Virelians. Smaller human strike teams darted in and out of asteroid belts and gas clouds, drawing Corvin ships into traps. Drones deployed from their ships, luring enemies into ambushes. Each Corvin vessel that attacked faced precise counterattacks, their numbers gradually thinning. It was a battle of wits and courage, and humans were experts at both. Meanwhile, Virelians on the surface worked tirelessly under human guidance. They activated energy shields in precise patterns, redirected power to critical sectors, and learned to fire defensive weapons in coordination with the fleet. It was a fusion of human ingenuity and alien technology. For the first time, the Virelians felt like active participants in their own survival. The battle intensified as Corvins attempted to target the planet's main energy core, the heart of Virelia's cities. If destroyed, the planet's defenses would collapse. Commander Jarek knew this could not happen. He ordered a daring plan. Seren, Lyra, you take a strike team and intercept the Corvin fleet targeting the energy core. Everyone else covers our retreat in shields. We cannot lose the planet. Seren and Lyra nodded, their faces determined. Their ships darted toward the enemy, weaving between massive energy beams. With precise strikes and clever maneuvers, they disrupted the Corvin formation, buying time for the planet's defenses to stabilize. Their courage inspired the Virelians, who had never seen such bravery before. On the flagship, Yarek coordinated with his lieutenants, ensuring every human ship, every Varelian defense unit, acted in perfect harmony. The Corvins, though powerful, were unprepared for this level of coordination and adaptability. Humans had turned the battlefield itself into a weapon. As the battle raged, small acts of valor multiplied. Drax's humans boarded disabled Corvin ships in zero-gravity assaults, using their strength and training to neutralize the enemy. They rescued captured Varelians, returning them to safety. Their actions were swift, precise, and fearless, reflecting a lifetime of surviving Drax's harsh conditions. Elara watched a human boarding team disable a Corvin vessel with awe. "They are extraordinary," she whispered to Thyron, "not just in strength but in courage and intelligence." Theron nodded. "They fight not for conquest but for life. That is something the Corvins cannot understand." The humans' tactics were relentless. They used the planet's terrain to their advantage, drawing Corvins into asteroid belts, gravitational anomalies, and volatile gas clouds. Each ambush weakened the enemy while protecting Varelia. The Varelians, once passive observers, now worked alongside the humans, their confidence growing with every successful strike. Hours turned into a full day of combat. Corvin ships began to retreat temporarily, regrouping at a distance. The planet was battered but standing. Humans and Varelians alike paused to assess their success. They had proven that courage, intelligence, and unity could stand against overwhelming power. Commander Jarek addressed the fleet. "Today we have held the line, but the battle is not over. The Corvins will return stronger and more determined. We must continue to adapt, fight smart, and protect what cannot protect itself." On the surface, citizens of Varelia emerged from shelters to witness the fleet above. Ships glinted in the sky, energy beams sparking as drones patrolled the atmosphere. The humans were everywhere, relentless and fearless. Elara felt a surge of hope. "Perhaps we can survive after all," she said. Theron smiled. "With them we do more than survive. We fight back. We take our place in the galaxy again." As night fell over Varelia, the stars above seemed to watch silently. The battle had been won for now, but the war was far from over. The Corvins were cunning and persistent. Yet the humans had shown a new force in the galaxy, the ability to endure, to adapt, and to inspire. Commander Jarek walked through the fleet's operations room, checking in with his lieutenants. "Every Varelian defense unit must be ready for immediate action. They trust us and we cannot fail them. Make sure every crew member knows their role. This planet's survival depends on it." Lieutenant Kara nodded. "They are learning quickly, Commander. Your guidance has turned fear into determination. Even their scientists are now coordinating with our pilots." Jarek allowed a brief smile. "That is why we fight. Not for ourselves, but for those who cannot fight alone." Meanwhile, small teams of humans worked alongside Varelian engineers, repairing cities, reinforcing energy shields, and preparing traps for the next Corvin wave. Every action, no matter how small, strengthened the alliance between the species. It was a lesson in unity and resilience, showing that courage was not limited to one form. It could be shared and multiplied. As dawn approached, the Corvins launched a probing attack to test the humans' defenses. Yarek anticipated their movements, and the fleet responded with precision. Human ingenuity turned the Corvins' strength against them, forcing a retreat once more. Each victory, though small, bolstered the morale of the Varelians, who began to see a future beyond fear. Elara turned to Theron. "They are teaching us more than defense. They are teaching us courage, hope, and how to stand against what seems impossible." Theron's eyes shone with pride. "And we will continue to learn. With them, we are no longer helpless." By the end of the day, the battle had shifted the momentum. The Corvins, though powerful, were being forced to adapt to the humans' tactics. The Varelians, inspired and guided, had become active participants in their defense, and the Drax's humans, fearless and relentless, had proven that valor, intelligence, and unity could overcome even the deadliest enemies. The stars above Varelia shimmered, reflecting the hope and determination of two species united in purpose. The planet was safe for now, but the humans and Varelians knew that the final confrontation with the Corvins was approaching. Yet they faced it with confidence, courage, and an unbreakable spirit. And in that moment, across the galaxy, a simple truth was clear. When the helpless call, the valorous answer. And when courage meets intelligence, Even the deadliest threats can be challenged, and hope can burn brighter than fear. The skies above Veralia were alive with movement. Drax's ships darted between the Corvan warships, their silhouettes gleaming like silver against the dark void of space. Below, the planet's surface was a hive of activity. Verelian engineers reinforced energy shields, deployed defensive drones, and coordinated with the human fleet in a seamless dance of strategy and courage. Commander Jarek stood on the bridge of the Vigilant, eyes scanning every readout. Today was the day they would show the Corvans that courage could not be destroyed. Corvans are regrouping for a full assault, Lieutenant Kara reported. They've concentrated their largest fleet near the northern approach vectors. Jarek nodded. Then we give them a welcome they will never forget. Deploy strike teams Alpha, Beta, and Gamma to the northern vectors. All other ships provide cover and support. Remember, coordinate, adapt, and protect the planet at all costs. The Drax's humans had trained for moments like this. Every maneuver, every decision, every attack was precise and deliberate. The Corvans were powerful, but humans thrived where others failed, on risk, on ingenuity, and on courage. And today they would prove that no force, however vast, could outmatch those qualities. On the surface, Alara and Thyron oversaw the deployment of Verelian defensive units. Thanks to human guidance, the once frightened species had become active participants. Energy shields pulsed rhythmically, drones zipped through the skies, and citizens took refuge with confidence, knowing the humans would defend them. Alara could not help but smile at the sight. They fight with precision, not just weapons. Their courage is extraordinary, she said. Theron nodded, and it inspires us. With them, we are no longer defenseless. As the Corvans advanced, the Drax's fleet executed a series of feints and maneuvers, leading the enemy into a series of traps. Ships darted between asteroid belts, gas clouds, and magnetic storms. Corvan vessels collided with debris, misfired energy beams, and struggled to maintain formation. The humans turned every hazard into a weapon, demonstrating the creativity and adaptability honed on their harsh homeworld. Strike Team Alpha, led by pilot Seren, launched a daring assault on the Corvan's flagship. Her ship weaved unpredictably, dodging energy blasts, and fired a series of precision strikes that crippled the enemy's shields. Lyra, leading Strike Team Beta, followed closely, creating a coordinated strike that left the Corvan command vessel exposed. The enemy roared in anger and confusion. They were powerful, yes, but unprepared for intelligence paired with valor. Below, Verelian ground units deployed additional defenses. Energy barriers rose around critical cities, drones intercepted incoming fire, and engineers rerouted power to essential systems. With humans guiding them, the Verelians had become an effective part of the defense, their fear replaced by determination. The battle intensified as Corvan reinforcements arrived. Massive warships descended upon the northern vectors, their energy beams capable of destroying entire cities. But Drax's humans adapted instantly. Using unconventional tactics, they divided the enemy fleet, forcing individual ships into isolated positions. Boarding parties trained in zero-gravity combat disabled several vessels from within, turning the Corvan's strength into vulnerability. Commander Jarek's voice cut through the comms. Do not hesitate. Strike with precision and courage. Protect every Verelian life. Show them what it means to fight for others. The Corvans, despite their immense power, were being outmaneuvered. Their strength alone could not match the humans' adaptability, strategy, and unyielding resolve. Each ship taken down inspired the Verelians, who now fired with confidence and purpose. They were no longer victims, they were allies, part of a force that refused to surrender. In the heat of battle, Seren and Lyra executed a daring plan. They lured the Corvan flagship into a dense asteroid field. Using synchronized maneuvers, they forced the vessel into collision with several large asteroids, destabilizing it. Boarding teams then boarded the crippled ship, neutralizing the remaining Corvan forces. The flagship, the heart of the enemy fleet, was lost, sending shockwaves through the Corvan ranks. Commander Jarek observed the chaos with calm satisfaction. The tide is turned, he said. Maintain pressure and push forward. We finish this. Human and Verelian forces pressed the attack. Corvan ships, demoralized and disoriented, began to retreat. Drax's pilots pursued with careful precision, preventing their escape without overextending. On the planet, Verelians repaired energy shields and reinforced cities even as the battle raged above. Every action, coordinated and deliberate, contributed to the victory. Finally, the Corvins fled the sector entirely, leaving Virelia battered but intact. The skies cleared and the stars once again shone above the planet. The Draxus fleet held formation, ensuring no stragglers could return. On the surface, citizens cheered, tears of relief and joy streaming down their faces. Humans had not just fought for them, they had saved them. Jarek allowed himself a moment to breathe. The battle was over, but the lesson was clear. Courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome even the most terrifying threats. Draxus humans had faced impossible odds on their homeworld, and those lessons had carried them across the galaxy, turning the tide against a predator species that had seemed unstoppable. On Virelia, Ilara addressed her people. Look at what they have done. They are not just warriors, they are protectors. They fought for us, for our world, and for hope itself. We must never forget this courage, Theron added, and we must carry it forward. Today we have survived because of humans. Tomorrow, we fight alongside them as equals. The alliance forged in battle extended beyond mere survival. Humans shared their strategies, taught the Virelians how to strengthen defenses, and trained them in coordination and planning. The Virelians, in turn, offered technology and knowledge, creating a partnership that promised long-term security and mutual respect. Commander Jarek convened with his lieutenants. Our mission was a success, but our responsibility continues. We have proven that courage and intelligence are stronger than fear. Remember, the galaxy is vast and threats will arise. But today we have shown what it means to answer the call of the helpless. Lieutenant Kara nodded. They will remember this day, Commander. Virelia has hope again because of our people. Seren, Lyra, and the rest of the crew shared quiet smiles, proud not just of their victory but of the lives they had saved. On Draxus, courage was survival. Across the galaxy, courage had become legend. The citizens of Virelia poured into the streets celebrating their saviors. Humans walked among them, teaching, guiding, and inspiring. The bond between the two species was strong, built on shared struggle and mutual respect. In the distance, the stars sparkled, silent witnesses to a victory born not just of firepower, but of valor, intelligence, and unity. Ilara turned to Theron, watching the humans assist their people. They have given us more than life. They have given us hope, courage, and the knowledge that we are not alone. Theron smiled. And we have given them the chance to show the galaxy what it means to be truly human, brave, clever, and unyielding. Today, they are more than heroes. They are legends. Commander Jarek looked at the planet below, his heart steady. Draxus humans had traveled across impossible distances, faced unknown dangers, and emerged victorious. They had proven that survival on a death world did more than forge strength. It forged courage, ingenuity, and honor. As the Draxus fleet prepared to depart, the Virelians offered their heartfelt gratitude. Plans were made for future cooperation, alliances, and mutual aid. The galaxy was vast and dangers remained. But one truth was clear. When the helpless call, the valorous answer. And in that answer, hope burns brighter than fear. The stars above Virelia shone like never before, reflecting a galaxy transformed by courage. The Draxus humans had shown that even against overwhelming odds, intelligence, determination, and unyielding valor could triumph. And for the Virelians and for countless civilizations that might one day face danger, this lesson would never be forgotten. Across light years, in the hearts of those who had witnessed it, the legacy of the Deathworlders endured. Humans, born of harsh worlds shaped by survival, rising to defend the helpless, standing as a beacon of hope for the universe. The Corvins had been defeated, Virelia had been saved, and the bond between species born in fire and fear had been forged in valor. The galaxy had changed forever,